Oh well, what do you know? We're back to a story about Thomas. Kinda forgot this little short stack was around. We haven't had an episode talking about him yet this season, although it seems to be starting out much like every other one that has come out before it. Moving on his branch line, bringing Annie and Clarabelle along with him. And as we've been shown before, he passes over, under, and by many different structures and buildings. One area he finds most enjoyable was the Dryall Goods Station, something we haven't seen before.
They can see a bridge with a village nestled either side of it. This is a special place. Whenever children hear Thomas coming along, they stand on the bridge waving until he is out of sight.
What child wouldn't as of now? Watching trains blow by is fun no matter what age. What Thomas also liked doing there was chit-chatting with the children. Of course, this made him late sometimes, which is pretty dumb. I can clearly remember Thomas being that type of engine to batter other engines for not running on time to their schedule. So why is it now he can take the time to have small talk with pedestrians? Come on, where's the Oh, right. The Better Late Than Never episode of Season 2 kind of developed Thomas, didn't it? Okay, I take that back. This time it was Percy warning Thomas of being late.
"Hurry up, Thomas," called Percy when the signal dropped. "If you're late, Sir Topham Hatt may get a new engine to replace you." He would never do that, thought Thomas, but he was worried.
I don't know, Thomas. You'd be surprised what could happen if you do it enough times. The next day he came around and Inspector flagged him down. The reason behind this was that the children waiting on the bridge were stranded after their school bus broke down. Seeing no other way of getting them home at the moment, Thomas happily obliged. Looks like he'll be running late again. I'm glad to see, though, that Thomas is not as high-strung as he once was when it came to timeliness. It seems as if now he understands that delays happen all the time and sometimes nothing can be done about it. Good for him.
Thomas waited as the children walked down from the bridge. Then he took the children to the next station where Bertie was waiting to take them home.
By the time Thomas had finished that minor job, when he reached Knapford Station, he was way late than usual, and he knew it. Percy was telling James he warned him before and there wasn't much else to be said. That particular scene doesn't hang on the chat any longer, but I'm curious as to what James was thinking. Since he was one of those engines who got blasted by Thomas for being late once before, I'm sure he's thinking something along the lines of, "Yeah, well, serves him right, hypocrite." Astonishingly, when Thomas started out the next day, Top Hat was nowhere to be found, which meant no consequences from at least the big man. However, there was something else that was going to rattle Thomas's wheels.
Just ahead was a stretch where the hot sun had bent the rails on the track. "Careful, Thomas," called his driver, but it was too late.
Holy smoke boxes! I had a war flashback. I just realized this was an episode that had gotten me super scared when I was very little. It was that scene I saw that freaked the crap out of me. I think that was in due part to the jumpy derailment of Thomas and his shocked face mask that says, "No!" It's really an uneventful thing to be scared over, but I remember that moment specifically making me hide for my life. I was young and stupid. What do you want from me, huh? Of course, now with that part of his branch line under maintenance, Thomas was left in the shunting yards. Interesting how he got back there, considering that's where he started. However, guess who came by to help out? That's right, Bertie the bus. Who else? He did, after all, have a road that traveled along the rails. Convenient enough.
"Hello, Bertie," they said. "We're glad you're here." Bertie drove along the road that runs by the railway. He stopped at each station along the line.
Unfortunately, Thomas didn't feel any better. He wanted to go back to work ASAP. And I mean, I get that. Who wants to do remedial jobs when you could really be doing your dream job one has done for so long? At last, Top Hat showed up with some good news. The rails on Thomas's branch line had been mended, and he could officially go back to work there. Even better, Top Hat proposed the idea of having Bertie and him run around the same time to help out when one wasn't up to snuff. Sounds efficient to me.
When Thomas reached the station, there to his relief were all his passengers. "Bertie is a good bus, but we missed our train rides with you," they said. Later, Thomas spoke to Bertie. "Thank you for looking after my passengers." "That's all right, Thomas. I'd like to make new friends, but I'm glad to share them with you." "You're a good friend indeed," replied Thomas, "and always will be."
Yo! Why is it that Bertie and Thomas have like the best chemistry in episodes that involve only them? That was a satisfying exchange those two had. And in the end, it emphasizes the fact that friends help friends, or more in general, help others when it's called for. Because when you do that, most will appreciate what is done, and recognize you for it. As for stories go, this is the best so far this season because it's not a Gordonism story, and it also doesn't involve characters being annoyed with one another. Aside from their first encounter, Bertie and Thomas have been solid friends, and this continues to show that their bond has been strong since that time. It's another great thing to see the development in Thomas's attitude towards timeliness, basing it off of the Better Late Than Never episode from Season 2. Working off that shows that the writers are taking into account other experiences and how it affects Thomas's behavior. The locations in this story have more to add as well. Common places like Knapford Station, Farquhar Station, the Watermill, and the Valley Bridge have been seen before. But this entry also introduces the Dryall Goods Station and Toriak Station. Of these two, the nicest looking was the Dryall Goods Station. The shot with the camera lens being Thomas's face gives a beautiful look at what's ahead. The music doesn't bring in any new themes, but instead revisits old motifs. Thomas's anthem will obviously be used here, as well as the busy theme for when Thomas picks up the kids from the bridge. And I didn't forget Bertie's theme either. Oh, how that theme should never die. It's too good to miss. Next episode is Thomas, Percy, and the Dragon. Thanks for watching.